Battery tester had condemned the battery even after the battery had a full charge. It was showing it was less than 50% capacity. So they brought it back over here. This time it had a low voltage code stored in it, but it still was charging. So the alternator was charging, it had a known good battery in it, but it still kicked the battery light on.
So the alternator was intermittent then?
No, it was never intermittent. It never stopped charging. It charged at all times. I had a fluke and a scope on it.
So why did we have to put another? Did we put two alternators or just one? Just put one.
We just put one on it.
Okay. So the alternator was bad.
Very rare you see a battery light on with an alternator that's charging that an alternator will fix the problem on. Normally, when your battery light comes on, it doesn't come on until it goes below that voltage threshold.
Right.
Which most fuel injection cars are going to be below 12.5 to 12 volts.
Right.
That depends on the make and model, because all makes and models are going to be different depending on the software inside the computer. Now, that being said, this thing charged at all times, like I said, and battery light was on. So it wasn't like it reached that threshold to kick the light on. It kicked the light on because it had a circuit issue, I guess, internally in the alternator. I can't speak for what exactly internally was going on with it, but there was an internal problem because
and now you got a constant
off, and now we don't have, I mean, you see it kicks in the charging based off of what the load is. That is the voltage regulator. On a Chrysler product, the voltage regulator is not in the alternator, it's in the PCM.
And it's going to keep the voltage, when your alternator is operating correctly, it's going to keep the voltage of above 13.5 on average. And it's going to float depending on the load on the vehicle.
Now, because you have decoupling pulleys on the alternators and they're trying to be as fuel efficient as they can, they're actually taking and using smart charging systems. I don't believe this car has it.
Right.
But they will actually decouple the alternator pulley and allow voltage to drop because they don't see a need for charging, and it takes the drag off of the motor, which allows it to be more fuel efficient.
More fuel efficient. Okay.
Which happens with any decoupler. Anytime you lift off the throttle, the decoupler is still spinning faster than the engine is.
Right.
And what that allows it to do is take the stress off of the engine.
So did we put the battery in, or did the customer?
The customer put it in.
The customer put one in, then they come back and they had a problem. Then we checked it out and found out that the alternator was bad.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. And the reason that I didn't want to condemn an alternator that was charging is because the battery tester had condemned the battery even after the battery had a full charge. It was showing it was less than 50% capacity.
So it ate the battery because it was using it to run the car.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that's the simple way of saying it. Cool. So 2012 Chrysler Town and Country. You just heard a lot of conversation between myself, Joe Hutchins, and Mike Siemens. Tell me your last name. Between myself, Joe Hutchins, and Mike Siemens regarding charging systems on your vehicle. One of the things folks are going to deal with as the cold weather hits, you're going to start seeing batteries go bad, because once the weather starts to drop below a certain temperature, batteries tend to start acting a little goofy. And then that also is going to include, in some cases like this vehicle, it's going to include the alternator in order that your charging system's working. So a little bit of input there from Mike and myself as to how they have to work together in order for your system to work together. Once again, 2012 Chrysler Town and Country, and we have the issue resolved. Once again, Joe Hutchins, Hutch Automotive Service, Sales, Power Sports, located on Highway 44 East in Mount Washington. Our phone number is 502-538-7000. Please give us a call and let us help you with all your auto service needs. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to serve you.